Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to round two of the Can-Am Race League. We are in Mexico City. After a great round one, we will see who has the pace at this track. This track is known for its high altitude circuit, which presents the unique challenge through all the different corners and long straights you have, with very thin air affecting the aerodynamics and the engine performance, but it is also a video game. However, with the technical corners and the famous stadium section within Sector 3 of the course, we should be in a bit of an electric atmosphere today, as we're back racing on this Wednesday night. As we don't have any home drivers like we did have in Canada last week, we will see who's able to master this track and take the win in Mexico. We have a short qualifying here with 16 minutes left. We have 18 drivers on the grid. I don't know exactly who we are missing. Missing one Red Bull, Visa Cash App. And we are missing one Alpine. One Visa Red Bull and one Alpine not racing, and they have elected to not bring them up from Tier 2, so we will have 18 drivers on the track today. Let's get this out. I wish I could make this smaller for you for when you're looking at it, but we still have 15 minutes to go. This is his out lap. He is the first driver, so we will see the lap he's able to put in. As I believe it's around a 120 something, maybe 130 per track. But this is the stadium course. Absolutely beautiful. Very intricate corners. So you have to nail this first corner and able to maximize the exit for the long straight here. Starting this lap in the kit car. The first car that's going to be throwing out any time here on this very long straight you have. It's probably like 10 seconds long, even though you're in an F1 car. We'll see if it nails the first corner braking. Yep. Very clean through 2, 3, and 4. Very clean. You want to be as wide as you can be on the track. Oh, we have Sababi throwing in a 115. I was way off. So I reckon the fastest is going to be a 113.7. Slight lockups there. You have to be able to get the car around in these tight corners. A 114 flat out of Seth. A 118 out of Coach Fantasy. He's currently at almost a minute. Very wide there. He took that. Slight lockup. Stay off those curbs. Yeah, bad exit. And late lockup. I think he'll still go P4. P3. Okay. Both Aston Martins on the top two at the moment. We still have 10 individuals who are not throwing with caution in sector 1 and 3. They're just slowing down so that the other cars can pass. No other damage. Who's currently on an out lap? Oh, he's starting his out lap. Same with Goat right behind him. Oh, no, he's coming around the back end. Warming up those tires. 9 individuals have thrown laps in so far. Should be able to get 2 full more in. That is not the best corner. .1507 throwing a 115.2 caution in sector 2. One of the Mercedes. Not a lot of ERS he has left on the straight. And a reminder to everyone, we do not have a formation lap in place here today. So whatever it is, it is. little bit late on the brakes there. Quick on the throttle though, that's what you need. These couple corners are very intricate. You want to hug every curve that you can. A little wide there. But he seems to still have good pace for this lap. No one's in the pit except for Mel Gibson. Might be P2. Oh, hit the wall a little bit. P3. That was close. I'm getting there. He hit the wall a bit. Probably threw him off by 2/10 at least. Minimum. Or else he would have been P2. Aston Martin still holding 1 and 2. We have 5 individuals who have not thrown laps out yet. Dismal coming around the second sector. Lucid going P3. Provisional P3. Half the drivers out, half the drivers in the pits. Caution in sector 1. We have someone letting the Dismal pass. We have Flame, who is currently on a pretty decent lap, I would say, at the end of this sector here. Oh, spun it a bit. Still gonna go P5. Only P9. Oh, he lost it a lot there. Dismal still on his out lap. Mini Squash joined. He was already in here though. Fourteen individuals are currently throwing laps out. What we have here is a mixed grid to fight for championship reasons. Very early on in this season, in Tier 2, Tier 1, Race 2. Currently on the Dismal here. He's just going through the last couple corners. Coming down that pitch straight right now. A little wider than he'd want to. You really want to hug that apex, but he goes P2. Provisional P2. And he has a lot more time to gain, at least in that Sector 3. At least a 10th or 2. Goat going P2. Seth still holding that top spot. Provisional pole here with the 114.082. With 2 more laps, I reckon that people will be able to get in. That's 4 more complete laps. Well, that's 6 more complete laps. Out lap, hot lap, and then your cool down. Oh, and we have Dismal going off. I don't know if that was to let someone pass. No one's behind him, but there's a lot of cars off. Unless he's not on a hot lap right now. He just wants to get back into the pits. Let's go on board with 50 in 07, aka Heatley, coming through Sector 2 here. You want to be riding almost every one of these curbs, but staying away from the orange. We have a new provisional pole with the Ferrari of Cloud City lock up there. And almost a let loose in the back end right there. Let's see if this Mercedes gets out of the way in this sector here. No space to go. However, he's got to create room for this Red Bull that is flying right now through the sector. Yep, okay. Let's hope he doesn't slow him down. Coming through the stadium section here. Oh, wait. That's weird. Where does Vivoda put the Ferrari Does he go 1-2 with his teammate? Goes P10 overall. Caution in sector 1. We have one of the cars slowing down for the kick car as it goes past of the Yuppie. Caution in sector 1 as a Ferrari slowdowns for the Mercedes that's passing through. And the Williams seems to have lost it in sector 1, corner 3 or 4. Let's see if he throws a fast lap in here, Cloud City. Oh, he goes into the pits for one more complete lap he's looking to do. Mini Squatch going wide there. Let's see if he's where he can put this McLaren. Can he get it into the top 10? Based off the 106 time before that corner, I believe he should be able to make it to at least P13. P14. Okay. There must have been sector 1 and 2 where he lost majority of his time, but the end of sector 3 looked decent. Coach Fantasy currently running in 16th, going wide in the last corner, going into the pits. Okay. Everyone is in the pits except for 4 individuals right now, going for their out lap, and then what they're going to do is run their true hot lap. And we'll see who's able to throw a faster time in it than the individual in the Ferrari running on provisional pole at the moment here in Mexico City. That just looks so satisfying to do in a car, just wiggle back and forth through our corners. Spubby here looking to get ahead of that P9 position he's currently sitting in. Almost lost the rear there, spun out, and the second I start talking is when it goes bad. But he still has another time to get in new tires if he needs, or do another out lap. But this lap, yep, going into the pits. Ferrari looks to be like a lot better pace here. But let's see if he likes to go out or go into the pits. Going into the pits. 15:07 on his out lap, starting his full lap right now. Let's see the whole lap he's able to put in. Corner by corner. We're going to follow this entire lap. He's currently sitting in 11th. He needs his teammate of Mel Gibson to catch up to him just so that they can have the team strategies in place. Good corners for 1. Could get a little bit wider through 2 to propel him into 3 and 4. Just because you need to be as wide as possible through that first corner to be able to make it through the rest of the corners effectively. Going down into 3rd there. Let's see if it goes into 2nd. Nope. Stays in 3rd. Stay as wide as you can for this whole sector. Slightly adjusting the car to get straight. Coming through the S's here in Mexico City. He might have. It's not throwing the time in the top right. However, he is definitely on his hot lap. Let's see if he's able to get ahead of 11th. I do believe he can. Definitely taking a good line for it. Goes 8th behind the McLaren and in between the kit car. He might be able to do one more, but I do not know. Who are we watching? Lucen? Let's watch the back of the pack. Everyone's in the pits except for Mr. Thief. Taking it a little more hesitant on the brakes early on in that first corner. This is also the first year without the racing line, so everyone is adjusting to every track, as you see, for all the lockups and the indecisiveness of where to brake. You do have a good gauge, However, you truly don't know unless you do enough practice on the track so within a lap. Everyone's still hunting down that Ferrari. However, the two Aston Martins are continuing to hold that 1-2 spot as they continue to get faster every lap, trying to hunt down that Ferrari for provisional pole here. Thief is certainly beating his own time here. However, where will he put himself compared to the rest of the grid? A little bit not as wide as he wanted. Early on the throttle, hold that line. Goes 12th. 6 spot jump for Mr. Thief. Does not have time to get another lap unless he has enough battery at the end of this lap and if he has enough gas. Williams car here starting the lap. But we will see if anybody has the pace. 2 seconds off pace here for Goat. We have Exo, who is currently trailing behind or in front of the McLaren. Waiting to start the hot lap. I believe that is Mini Squash in front. Let's see if Exo in the Aston Martin can get ahead of his teammate or get ahead of the Ferrari. As everyone's going to be starting their final laps here. Get a slight bit of a drag from the car ahead, punching through that air. DRS open, using some ERS. Goat Lee throwing a 1:13.8 here with 40 seconds left in this qualifying session. Currently on provisional pole. The Visa Red Bull Cash App with no teammate. Getting a massive drag. You're also in dirty air as well. Trailing behind a car that closely in qualifying. But on the long straights, it definitely helps. Seth going P2, getting ahead, putting himself in the 113s at P2. Let's see if Exo Dave and the other Aston Martin can do better than that. Seems to be doing well so far. Drain that ERS and he loses the back end of the car. Stays P4 by 1/10. It came down to the last corner. Let's see who's able to get a little bit higher in positions. As we have cautions in sector 1 and 2 right now. Seth is done. Exo, the Mercedes and the McLaren 5 and 6 are done as well. Let's see if any one of these individuals who have not completed the laps can put themselves ahead of anyone who has finished. As this is the time to do it. This is the time to push. The last lap. Sectors 2 and 3 as everyone's slowing down to let the individuals pass. And unless Voivoda, Heatley, or the Williams car can get ahead, it seems to be Mr. Goat Lee on pole with a 1:13.8. The Williams is not able to do it. Stays P7. 50 and 07. Let's see where he currently is. And he's out. This is the grid for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We have Goat Lee on provisional pole here in Mexico City. Followed by the Aston Martin, the Ferrari, the other Aston Martin, which would definitely help later on. The Mercedes, the McLaren, the Williams, the Mercedes, the Red Bull, the Williams, the Haas, the Kick car, the Ferrari, McLaren, the Kick, the Alpine, and in 17 and 18th we have the Haas and the Red Bull. A quick reminder that there is no formation lap. We are getting right into the action to the 5 individuals watching. No formation lap. Even playing ground for everyone. Just be ready when the lights are out. I'm going to take a guess and say that Goatley wins the race, followed by a 2-3 by the Aston Martin. I think those team games are definitely going to help in the long run. P1 and 2 for Mercedes. That'd be lovely to see out of 5 and 8 out of them. That'd be lovely. Unless you're just talking about the tier 2. That's where they're starting. That could be as well. I don't have it up right now. As the tier 1 commentator, I have to fully lock in on what's going down in tier 1. I have no idea what we're waiting on. But we will start soon, I hope. And let's get after it. Lights out, and away we go. I don't think anyone. Wait, there is a formation lap actually. That is wicked, I will say. Oh, let's get this ready. Alright. The top 4 on the medium tires, then the hard medium, and it alternates all the way down to P12 double mediums. So we will see what happens, as I believe potentially here, unless there's a safety car, the medium tires obviously will be faster overall, but I think later on in this race, when your car is a lot lighter, those medium tires are going to come into full effect. But the only issue is if those hard tires get worn out tremendously with the weight of the car. But as everyone did not understand, it was my understanding that we did not have a formation lap up. I guess we do. And that is okay. But going back to, we'll have the position change up. What is essential right now is the lockup that is happening throughout Sector 2 and 3. We'll see who's able to brake efficiently and effectively in order to keep their position or gain a position. But we have EXO and Dismal, who must have collided, who are starting at the grid, do not have a full lap to get their tires warm. So they are going to be the losers, you could say, of the formation lap, as they will be sitting there waiting for everyone to get into grid. I believe it was in Sector 1 where they collided. It's not ideal. You don't want to see it. You don't want it to happen. But it's going to be a sprint race to corner 1. And they're not going to have the benefit. We have the Aston Martin of Seth pointing his car toward Goat Lee to try and get ahead here. But as we have a full grid, -2, everyone is getting into position here. It is almost time. 5 lights. It's lights out. And away we go of the Mexico City Grand Prix. We have Seth, who's hunting down Mr. Goat Lee there. And we have EXO trailing behind. A couple changes so far as we go down the long straight coming down to Sector 1. We have 18 cars going at it. Who's going to come out on top? It looks like Seth and Goat Lee are going at it into corners 1 and 2. No damage so far as Goat Lee has lost position there. Lucid up 2 places. EXO currently down 3 spots as the tires are not warm yet. But Lucid and his teammate. However, Seth is still able to stay ahead into who's able to come out on top. A lot of locks up. It has been very clean so far. We have the Williams car down 3 spots. Lucid gaining another position on the McLaren of Flame. We have Seth holding this lead going through the Sector 2 here of the S's. We have one of the Williams of EXO locking up, losing, going down into P18 currently, who's going to do everything he can to get back into this race. Mel Gibson, a 3-second time penalty in this first lap here. It's been very clean from the top of the grid. I just believe Dave's tires were not fully warmed up yet. A ton of lockups here, as it seems. However, I don't know if it's true lockups, but coming down the straight here, we have DRS enabled, and we have an ad, but it does not matter. Is Goat Lee able to gain the lead here as they're going 2 wide into corner 1? It seems to be that Goat Lee can. Goat Lee lets Seth take the position, and he's being hunted down now by the Ferrari here. Who's in 5th? Okay. So we have the top of the grid, and then we have a gap to the Williams of Sabubby, and everyone is trailing behind. We have Seth going Lucid going purple in Sector 1, it seems to be. Oh, we have contact by the two Mercedes cars. Playing bumper cars through Sector 2. Lucid on the back of his teammate right now, just trying to get ahead. We have all the fans standing up and jumping, ready to watch the action unfold. We have that Williams car just keeping up the pack from behind. The McLaren and the Mercedes are going out and battling. Coming to the stadium section here, the top 5 individuals hunting down, and McLaren is going for it, and there is slight contact. The McLaren loses out trying to go for that. He went for it, he sent it. You have to believe it. Seth in the hard tires, Dismal in the hard tires, throwing the fastest lap with the 1:17.9, who is absolutely flying right now in that Mercedes car. Trying to keep his teammate close, but also not too close, because that McLaren is right on the back of his teammate as well. Seth losing out of position to the Ferrari of Cloud City, and they're all battling it. The top 6 individuals are all hunting down for the max points that they can, with still 33 laps to go. We'll see whose tires are being pushed way too far. Lucid a 3-second time penalty. Sector 2 and 3 is the issue. That's where you get all the penalties. However, not ideal this early on in the race here. They are just waiting to push that DRS button open, the top 3 guys. Both Mercedes need to hold it here, but Lucid playing team games, Dismal letting him get out ahead just so he could try and catch the cars ahead of him with that 3-second time penalty. The McLaren is going for it. Again, he's going to go for the dive bomb. Will he get it? No, he's a little too far back. The Mercedes going a little bit wide. But Seth was able to get ahead of Goatley, but Goatley definitely had the better exit through that corner coming down the straight here. But the 3.4-second gap to the kit car in 7th has become an issue, as the top guys are just gaining ahead and just having, it's 2 different DRS straights we have. Then we have the Williams car, who is way behind EXO, who is trailing behind these 6 individuals going for that 7th spot. DRS open for everyone coming down this slightly straight. We have Fate in the Haas car with a 3-second time penalty. Coming again here through the stadium. Everyone kept in orderly fashion. We will see what happens down on this long straight here. Coming down the pit straight, Lucid currently through the fastest lap in on those medium tires as it's starting to warm up. But Flame was able to get ahead of his Mercedes teammate. Goatley, Seth, even right now going into corner 1. We'll see who was able to come out on top, and it looks like Goatley has taken the lead back in this race, as it's going to keep happening. Whoever has that DRS zone button activated for that long straight, it's going to keep happening. You would rather be in 2nd place going into the last lap. Get ahead, and you should be able to hold that position for the remainder of the lap until someone does a dive bomb. But whoever is in 2nd place at the start of the last lap for that long DRS zone wins this race. I can guarantee it. Guarantee it. With enough battery, I will call it on the last lap. The issue that's going to come in is who's going to get time penalties late in the race when they're changing tires and when there is a lot less fuel in the car, which makes it lighter. So who's going to be willing to risk it to try and catch up, but also be limiting themselves to warning and track penalties? 2 tires have to be on the track. 1 off of it, you're good. 3 off of it, no good. Seth takes the lead. Flame in that McLaren is up places, who just got past but took the lead back from the Mercedes. Mercedes sitting 5 and 6 right now. Dave slowly eking up that gap on this straight. I mean, in this race here, after getting knocked down 12 places from where he started. And it looked like through the S's is where he lost it. Seth went for it, but was not able to get ahead of that Ferrari. However, we have the kit car coming back to life here, trying to knock down that 3-second gap as much as he can before the pits. But we have from 10 to 17 battling it, and we have 1 to 4 battling it, with the 2 Mercedes trailing behind, trying to stay in that zone. But you can see Seth is right on back of the pack and the front 2 leaders, getting as close as possible to let that Ferrari know he is there. And we have the top 3 coming down, the top 4 coming down the DRS zone here. Who is able to get ahead? That Ferrari will be able to take this lead, but is Seth able to catch up to the both of them and make it more of an interesting battle here? And it doesn't look like he has overpaced up. A Ferrari, for the first time in this race, leads going into lap 8 here. And there's nothing you can do when you don't have that DRS button unlocked. Coach Fantasy running in 10th right now with a 3-second penalty. 4 individuals right now with penalties. I believe it's only 3 per person. Caution in sector 1, as we had the kit car lose it behind the Red Bull in feint, but the top of the grid still fighting it out. Let's jump to the pack, as we have 7 drivers going for the most amount of points that they can get, which seems to be 1 point for their team, but every point matters for the Constructors' Championship. That is what everyone needs to take into account. Thief running at 16th with a penalty. Dave getting another spot into P15 here, and then losing it to Thief. Spoke a little too soon. Dismal in that Mercedes, throwing the fastest lap on those hard tires. The hard tires are starting to come alive here. Took about 8 laps, and those medium tires get worn out a little bit sooner than most people probably would have wanted. Probably sitting like 14-15% at the moment. In case you've locked up, then it's a little bit higher. Another 3-second time penalty. We have Lucid in the pits. Was that an early pit from Lucid? Or was there damage? Coming out here, I'm gonna reckon he got a new wing. But everyone trying to hunt down Sababi in the Williams car for that 8th position. We have 7 drivers. Currently, Coach Fantasy is holding them back from catching up to Sababi. But the top of the grid still staying the same, except we have Lucid, who was in P5 or P6, now running after a pit stop at P17. Goatley fighting for that lead back from that Ferrari driver. and has a DRS for this zone as well. Going to be able to stay ahead of that Ferrari, but will that Aston Martin have enough distance to close the gap for the start of the next straight? Seems to be the Alpine got caught up. The Williams car has been lapped as they are continuing to battle out, but the McLaren is getting annoyed with that car that had the blue flags that did not allow him to just get past cleanly and efficiently. And there's the Williams of Goya Ninja, who has the Mercedes right on the back there. But we have Seth running very close to that Ferrari. Can he head? We have Goatley in the pits. That means Seth, after the end of this lap, will be running the lead as he gets past here. As long as he has enough DRS on this straight, coming through the last sector. Oh, the Ferrari had it as well, being behind Goat. Let's see who's able to get ahead here. Keeping it clean, some damage, but we have the Ferrari going off. Seemed to be like he was pushed by the Aston Martin, getting a 3-second time penalty, and no, he is not happy about that one. However, the Aston Martin did not leave enough room, I would say technically. Did close the gap, but it is racing. So, you would understand it. As a driver, you do understand it. It's annoying, yes. However, it's racing. Let's see where Goatley comes out of the pits. And he seems to be back out in P14. So anyone who pits should be either ahead of him or right behind him, depending on what tire he has elected to go with. But I believe he started on the medium, so he is coming on the hards for the last 25 laps of this race. But I believe all the hard tire runners will be able to stay out for a little bit longer than those medium tires. And who pit before that? You had Lucid on the hard tires, was behind Goat. Yep. So we're gonna have this open up until everyone makes a pit. Then once it is there, we will see who put what tires on. If there is a safety car, obviously it's going to change things up even further. But those hard tires should be running, as we have the Yuppie, I assume, in the pits right now. Yep. We have the top 4 gunning it down Sector 1. And we have the McLaren forcing himself in front of the Ferrari, getting ahead into P2 on those medium tires. But I say we'll have Dismal and Heatley stay out until at least lap 20 at a minimum. And then run 15 or 16 laps. We have the Flame in the McLaren, a 3-second time penalty. Seth of the top 3, the only individual, as long as he stays within 3 seconds of the top 2, will win this race if nothing else changes. But remember, they do have to pit, but it's not ideal to get penalties that early on in the race. As long as everyone stays this way, doesn't get any more warnings, doesn't get anyone else, no one has elected to pit yet. Still right now, Goldie might have had damage, but he is gaining up the grid, eking out that gap to put himself in a good position so that when everyone else pits, he doesn't have to be sitting behind. But I believe Goldie will be able to pass 2 individuals on this lap. But we have the McLaren and the Aston battling it out. And we have the McLaren losing it slightly, going down into P4 now, as we have Dismal up into P3. Seth in P2. We have the Ferrari who's able to get ahead, but then lost it again. And we have Dismal coming in around the outside of the Ferrari. Very clean racing we have seen, but through Sector 3 here, in those S's, you cannot go too wide there. It's like the S's in Suzuka, the S's at Austin. You cannot go too wide. You're lucky to make it even there, 1 wide, as long as you nail them. Nine individuals with penalties. Half the grid has had a 3-second time penalty at a minimum. But we have the Ferrari in the pits. Ferrari in the medium tires in the pits. Dismal hunting down now Seth and those medium tires. Those hard tires definitely still have more life than the medium tires do. But Flame trailing very close behind as he'd had a slight spin earlier. Mel Gibson with the 3-second time penalty. But do we have the Mercedes going for it? Is he able to get ahead? He does have the wider gap. Stays behind the Aston Martin for the top two in the fight. However, Goatley up into 6th position. Not too far behind as the top two are still fighting, and Dismal is Dismal able to stay ahead here in the Mercedes? Yes, he is. Takes the outside line, able to stay ahead of Seth in those medium tires as there are more life in the hard tires, like I said. But the big thing, Goatley going for the early pit is up into P6 from going into P13 out of the pits. But as other people have pitted as well, we still have the top 10 guys out there with the new old tires, except for Goatley, who at the end of the race will be running into some traction issues. If he can make him last another 22 laps on those hard tires, be 25 total laps. But Seth on the back of the Mercedes once again coming down the long straight. It will have DRS on the next straight as well. Going for the dive bomb and the overtake. The Mercedes giving him enough room, knows that he has no fighting chance. Keeping the pressure on as he gets another DRS zone to stay ahead. It's about to be another penalty. We have Faint in the kit car in the pits right now, electing for the hard tires. Top 8 have still not pit in this race. 2 running medium, 6 running on the hards. Three-second penalty for Fate. Fate for the 3-second time penalty as well. Seth in the pits. In the pits. Going to throw on those hard tires. We will see how fast he's able to get those heat up. And let's see where he's able to come out. I reckon he will be coming out in P10. Maybe even a little less. He will be in the boatload of traffic. Goatley, the early pit in P4. Seth coming out in 9th. Warming up those tires as we'll see if the top of the grid elects to pit this lap. The medium tire I assume will. However, the hard tires can stay out a little bit longer. But the individual hunting down the mall, Goatley, elected for that early pit. Running behind that McLaren car, waiting for a pit out of the top of the grid. I'm going to make an educated guess and say that Flame is going to come into the pits here. I think those medium tires You should have pit slightly earlier with the other individual who threw on those medium tires, but everyone on those hards can stay out at least for another 3 laps. At a bare minimum. To run maybe even softs if you can get to lap 26 on those hards. Throw on some softs. Probably mediums to play it safe. But will there be a safety car as we're only halfway through this race and we have 10 individuals with penalties right now. Cloud City throwing a 116. Seth throwing a 116 even faster for the fastest lap. But once those medium tires throw those tires on, we have Williams coming out on those softs. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think they last another 18 laps. But Vovoda, another penalty. It's the top of the pack with the penalties that are going to get hurt. The individuals who stay at P10 or higher will have an advantage, as there are a lot of individuals with penalties going to knock themselves out as long as they stay ahead or behind that gap. They will get ahead of the individual ahead of them. Flame did not pit. Is being hunted down by Goat Lee. Probably electing to wear out those medium tires of Goat Lee. Oh, those hard tires by Goat Lee. Just so he's not able to use them later on. But going wide is the McLaren. Going too wide to the last corner. And the McLaren is in the pits. Goat Lee coming out to clean air. Now hunting down the top two. Have not even pit yet. But 8 lap old tires. We have 18 laps here. I do believe that there was damage to that car. That is why he was in the pits a little bit longer. And he came out a lot further behind. And that's why he pit early. Or else he would still be out there fighting for the top spots on those used medium tires. Coming on P10. It's probably about a 26-second pit. So we will see where the 1 and 2 guys come out. I'm going to say they come out in 5 and 6. Depending if they're battling or not. But there is a big gap from Dismal to Heatley. And then a slightly bigger gap from Heatley to Goat Lee. No one really fighting it out right now. We have the individuals behind battling it out for the last point in this race. We'll see if they're able to get ahead of Mel Gibson. Lucid, another 3-second time penalty. Fate going in for those medium tires along with Sabubi. The second pit of this race, I believe, by the both of them. That kit car right on the back of the Aston Martin now in EXO, who did not have a good start, getting knocked down at the start here. Dave going a little bit wide of that of the Red Bull. However, the kit car is right on the back of Dave. If Dave can get ahead of the Red Bull here and stay ahead of the kit car, would be ideal. But it looks like that Red Bull did not have a good exit compared to Dave. Dave getting ahead early of this straight here, and that kit car is contesting it as well. Going 3 wide into corner 1. Is the kit car going to go for it? He does not go for it. Dave stays ahead of the 3-pack here. Now on the hunt for that big gap to Flame. Sabubi a 10-second time penalty. Thief another 3-second time penalty, running P6 of this race right now. We have the top 2 still out there, but Goat Lee is just eating that time away out to be the potential leader of this race once they pit. Sabubby, another penalty. Goatley leading this race as we have the top two pit from the medium tires here with 14 laps to go in this race, coming out P4 and P5 if I'm correct, unless that kit car has pace to come down that straight and get ahead of him, and they will, as Dismal is trailing behind his teammate for P5, who is hunting down that P4 spot. But we will see Goatley's tires and how they're able to hold up in those positions. But going on to the action now, as we have the two Mercedes hunting down that kit car in faint. As we have the other kit car in a battle getting the advantage on Exo Dave coming through the Sector 1 corners here. Chandler, yard. Big yard. Goatley certainly has those soft tires on, waiting for a safety car if there is one. I'm going to say that. Lucid still on the old tires, has not elected to pit yet. Unless he thinks he can put those softs on and get an advantage left with 13 laps left. But if he pits, it'll have to be next lap. Get 8 tires. He's saying let's go Dave. Dave actually got spun out in the first lap here as he was disqualified for getting into contact in the formation lap, not electing to heat up those tires, got knocked out. No, Gucci Mane, we will not be discussing any politics in this chat here today, thank you. Gucci Mane, Gucci Mane, Gucci Mane, Gucci Mane. If you like to talk politics, let's do it on the racetrack and not in the com chat or in the Twitch chat. It is certainly against Twitch guidelines, and it's against Salami guidelines. So the double entendre here in Mexico City. I would say it's a relatively boring race. I mean, you have no safety car to spice it up. You haven't had any DNFs. Oh, I'm just kidding. I look and there is one DNF. I am trying to impersonate you, Mr. Gucci Mane. Someone should crash and spice things up. You are correct. We would love to see that here, as I don't think I've raced in one Can-Am race where there has been a safety car. And that's just the quality of drivers. Except when I'm on the track, then I'm always going to spice it up. Throw a little back tire in the wheel, in the wall. Preferably at Monaco, cause the whole grid to stop. But you know, call me Sergio Perez. Just kidding, please don't. You want to see P1 to P3? As there's a 3-second gap between the individuals. Goldie's tires, I don't reckon, has the endurance left to go another 11 laps. Good night, Gucci Mane. Yep. The ads definitely are the issue. But we will see what happens. I see the ad as well. We will see what's able to unfold during the time when y'all get back. Mel Gibson in retirement. Caution in Sector 3. Looks like in the pits, we have a DNF. We don't have a virtual safety car or a safety car. And we have the individual in P18 leaving the session. But can Cloud City hunt down that P1 spot? Welcome back, everybody. We now have a 10-second gap from P3 to P4. But Seth needs to get on his horses to stay within that gap of time of 3 seconds in order to stay in the podium fight for that P2 position. Currently 3.6 back. Needs 5/10 in 9 laps to finish P2 of this race. Big gaps up until the last couple individuals, as we have 12th, 13th, and 14th battling it out as Coach Fantasy gets the better of that fight. Caution in Sector 3, we have the McLaren and Fief going at it right now down the long straight. Can Fief get ahead? It doesn't look like it. Looks like the McLaren has the DRS getting ahead, as I just see 2 dots that were intertwined with each other. We have the kit car getting hunched down by the other Haas and Fate, the 9-second penalty, doing everything he can to get ahead of every individual behind him, but also trying to catch up to that kit car to get 1 point in this race. Six laps left to go here in Mexico City. Five laps to go. Is Seth able to get ahead? Is Flame able to stay ahead? Is Lucid able to stay ahead of Dave to keep that 8th position with that 9-second penalty he has? And the rest of the pack all fighting for that last position behind Yuppie, who's currently in 10th, running for 1 point for Team Kick. Let's go on board here with Seth to see if he can get ahead of Goatly to hunt down that P1 spot. Yet he has a 3-second penalty. So we'll see if Seth is able to gain the time, and let's see if the top two can battle it out in order to try and maximize that gap from 1 to 2. Within DRS zone, I think he's just out of it, not getting it, but he should be able to puncture a hole right behind that Riza Red Bull Cash App car to get as close as possible. He will not have DRS for the next straight, but if he is close enough in 4 laps, he might be able to gain a lead as Goatley is on the back end of those tires. And we have the Mercedes, the Kit Car, and the Red Bull battling out for P4, all 3 of them. We have the Mercedes, who was able to get ahead of the Kit Car on that long straight here, has the DRS open, but we have the Red Bull coming in. Is he going to go for the lunge? He is, pushes it wide, leaves a little bit of room, but has a better exit than the Kit Car. Is he able to then get ahead as well? Going very cleanly through the corner there. Coming through the SS here, and the Red Bull is ahead of the Kit Car. Going wide in that Kit Car, having to leave some space. Having that inside line is not ideal, but opening up that DRS to try and get back the position that was lost is the Kit Car. Going on board now with the Ferrari on the straight here, has DRS open with enough battery. Can he hunt him down? How much battery does Goatley have? 50%. Trying to stay ahead. However, that Ferrari has too much pace with the battery, along with the DRS. Opening it up again. Can he gain a 3-second advantage now in 4 laps? Slight contact between Goatley and Ferrari. Things are starting to get feisty at the front of this grid here. Staying ahead ever so slightly. Coming through the S's here. Holding that lead with that 3-second penalty. But does he slow down Seth? Or does he slow down both of them? And does Seth gain the advantage to stay within 3 seconds? To then drop Cloud City out. That is what Seth's mission is right now. Gain 4/10 somewhere. But they're going to play that DRS game right here. His goalie is most certainly going to be able to get ahead. If not on this DRS zone, then certainly on the other one. And it does look like he is able to. And Seth just losing out to the advantage, being 3 seconds behind, not able to get into that DRS zone. But you have the both of them draining the battery on the straights to then hopefully recover it for the rest of sectors 2 and 3 in order to stay ahead. But you also have that Red Bull, who was able to get ahead of the Mercedes and the Kit Car, running P4 in this race, who is an 11-second gap to P3. But the main fight right now is for 1 and 2. Along with 3, Dave was able to get 3.3 behind with 4 seconds left. He wants to stay within 3 seconds. I reckon there might still be contact here with 1 and 2 leaders battling it out. Going slowly through these last sectors. But yet trying to gain any advantage that can be gained. But Seth is now very, very close to that time. How much battery does Seth have? 38% coming down this straight here. But the battling and fighting between the top 2 are only helping Seth, as the Ferrari now gets back ahead. Going a little bit wider than wanted, but Goatley still on the back. Seth now a little bit further back than what he had wanted coming to start this lap. But you have the both of the top 2 drivers losing ever so slightly amount of time playing defensive toward each other. As they're going to keep on swapping positions throughout these next 3 laps, only down the long straight. But what you want to do is not pass unless you're on the last lap. Starting the second to last lap here, or third to last lap here. The Ferrari ahead of the Visa Red Bull. With 46% battery and using it, we have Goat Lee with 70% battery, using ever so slightly of it with that DRS wide open. We'll have it open again. But the two of them battling out, they're definitely going to lose time here unless they can keep it clean fully. And it seems they were able to. Both cars are getting a good exit. We will see if Goat Lee can take the lead, and it seemed like he did, staying very close to that Ferrari. And we have Seth, who is coming down into that 3-second penalty, 3-second area to put himself into P2 of this race. What is essential for him to do right now is you need the top two continuing to find these last 3 laps of this race. Coming through the end of sector 2 here in the S's, as long as they can keep it clean. I'm surprised Goat Lee's tires still have any life in them after about 26 laps. But as long as you're not locking up and heating them, coming through the stadium section here, be as smooth as possible to prepare yourself for the exit. Lucid with another penalty, running in P8 at 12 seconds, going to throw him down to a minimum of P10. The Ferrari back out in front, and Seth still barely on that 3-second line. He needs them to continue battling as we go down the second to last lap here on the top two. But we still have the Mercedes, the Red Bull, and the kit car. Another penalty for Fief. The three of them fighting it out for 4, 5, and 6 as there is a mega gap between them. But the three of them, 2 of them with the DRS open. The one individual who does not is the individual who came down to lead at the end of sector 1. As we have the Red Bull slight lock up there, but the kit car getting a good exit as well. But the main attraction tonight is Seth running in P3, who if possible can finish P2 of this race with the penalty from Cloud City, who is currently leading. And we will watch as we start the last lap of this race who is able to get the benefit of the doubt, you could say. As Goat Lee is not close enough, but he is trailing close behind, knowing that he is winning this race as long as he stays within 3 seconds. Seth 3.6 back now, which does not help as he is not nearly anywhere close to inside of that DRS zone. But could they slow each other down here, as Goat Lee was able to get ahead with that extra DRS? But you have some contact out of the both of them going slow. Is Goat Lee going slow on purpose to back him up? Seth now 2.9 behind and trying to hunt down. Let's see if he's able to get close enough. As we go on board here, 2.8 seconds. The 2 of them fighting out going through the stadium section here, only gonna help. We have a lot of tension between the top 2 right now. Seth locking himself into P2. We're coming through the last corners here. We have Goat Lee, the winner in Mexico City. And we have Seth able to get into P2 there, and Cloud City and the Ferrari in P3. And as long as things don't change, we will have P4 and 1507, Dismal and the Mercedes in P5, the kit car in P6, Flame and Lucid coming in 7 and 8. And then we have Exo Dave, who's going to be finishing in P7 with the 2 penalties that were ahead once he finishes the line. We will see with the time penalties if he does get himself into P7 in this race. He finishes P8, Lucid down another spot. Where does the Yuppie finish? I don't think he was 12 seconds back from Lucid. However, it seems to be that he was. Yuppie in P9, Lucid in P10, Fate in P11, Coach in P12, Mini Squatch in P13. We have Mr. Fief in the Haas in P14, and Vovoda finishing at 15th of this race once they cross the start finish line. And that is it from Mexico City. Goat Lee, Seth, and Cloud City on the podium. I would say it was action packed, and if it wasn't for that 3-second time penalty, it would have been a lot different of a race for what unfolded. Over here in Mexico City, things got a little bit heated toward the end there as I pull up the Discord, and of course it is installing it right now. Not what we like to see out of Discord. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. But it has certainly been a great night of racing. 3 different teams on the podium. Not what I expected. However, that is what happens. But to the interview room we go. And let's see. I need Mr. Seth. You are muted right now, mister. Hello, Seth. You are in the interview room. Nope. I don't think anyone will be joining the interviews tonight. However, it was a great racing from the top 3 of Goatly, Seth, and Cloud City. We will stay on for another minute or so, and we will see if anyone does join the interview room. However, I don't think anybody will. Oh. Hello, Seth. You are still muted. Someone start the Jeopardy theme song. Okay.
There we
Hello,
Okay.
Seth. Hello, sir.
Did you not see my pings in T1 chat?
I did not. I saw
Oh,
that you added me. But,
interviews has a server mute, so I couldn't get rid of it.
ooh. Well, now we know.
All right.
Hell of a race there at the end there. How close was it to stay within that 3-second time penalty from Cloud?
Yeah, I thought the overcut was gonna work for me, and then I came out with a big gap, and the hards were just they had no grip. It was still understeering, so I just really tried to stay in that 3 seconds, and then uh they started fighting with DRS, and it was like one lap I was in, one lap I was out, so I just kept
Yep.
staying like that. And then the last lap they got a little aggressive, and then Cloud ended up with 6 seconds, so I was fine all along.
You were. I was elaborating on that. The fact that they were just kept battling and it just kept getting better for you. But once that last lap hit, because goalie just went for that dive bomb, I was like, okay, he's solidified himself there. It's not even an issue. But I saw you
Yep.
got that 6 seconds, so. But it was good. I mean, it was good overall pace. How did you feel
I
about
was
the tires?
I felt the tires were weird. I don't know why. Maybe something with my setup, but I mean, it felt fine on the mediums. Like towards the end of the stint, it was a little oversteery, but then there was just no rotation at all on the hards. But it is
That's
what it
racing.
is.
It is racing, unfortunately. But what were you gonna say?
I was hoping on the last lap that Goat would get too aggressive and get a 3 second so I could win, but
Yeah,
unfortunately that didn't happen.
yeah, that would have been great. I will say that would have been great just to see how that would have unfolded and how they would have continued to battling it because they wouldn't have been battling because they were
Yeah,
just gonna then try and stay ahead of you. Because either way, like you would have taken that spot. But it was great
yeah.
racing tonight. You looking forward to
Thank you,
next week?
thank you. I need to look what track it is. Um,
You got some time.
Imola. Oh, I'm very excited.
Okay, well, good.
Lovely track. Haven't got to race there since season 5. Um, we did race there last season, but I wasn't able to. Oh, my computer died the day of, so wasn't
Gotcha.
able to race. But
Okay.
I really like that technical track, Imola.
Yep. Okay. Well, good. Well, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Great racing
You too.
tonight, and I will catch you next
Thank you.
week.
See you next week.
The goat.
Yep, I guess so. I wouldn't go that far, but I
Well, that
guess we can
is that
have a
is
night.
your name. No.
This is true.
Solid win tonight in Mexico City. How close was the battle at the end there, in your eyes?
I didn't know if Cloud could get his 3 second removed, but really, at the end of the day, I was fine with the P2 if it came to that.
Mm-hmm. And
Uh, what's up?
you had Seth hunting down you guys as well, trying to stay within a 3 second gap.
Yeah, that was the, I guess, stressful part because I know Cloud was catching and then Seth was catching, and then I was like, should I go a little faster? And then I was like, I'm not gonna do that, and then because I'm gonna spin. Then if I spin, if I spin, it would be sad. But I mean, it at the end, it's whatever happened.
That is a fact. Did you have wing damage? That's why you pit so early?
No, I
Okay.
went for the undercut.
That was a little early of an undercut, no? Do you think?
Yeah, the tires died off at like the last 2, 3 laps, but
Yeah.
the main thing I was going for was protector rears.
I
So
mean, once you came out, I think you came out in like 13th, then you rolled
yeah,
your
it
way
was
all the
13.
way up into like P2 and I was like, "Oh shit." I was like,
Yeah,
that man's on a mission right now."
I mean, it was more like to me, the combination of everybody else having to pit, and then I was like, if I could just keep it safe, don't run into people like I
Yeah.
used to do, like a terrorist. But anyway, just don't run into people, be patient, just wait. I mean,
It
I've
worked.
just used, yeah, it worked. Just keep saving your ERS, using hot lap on the straights, none
Yep.
in the corners, because Mexico has like no grip,
That is true.
almost no grip.
Yeah, especially like during the S's and the stadium area, there is absolutely no grip. Especially if you're right on the
Yeah,
curb, it's negative grip.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they decided to make it like that, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's whatever, I guess.
Yeah. It's an interesting track, but you excited for next week? How do you feel?
What's what's next week?
You
I
have
didn't I didn't
Imola.
even look. You said it was Imola?
Yeah.
No, why would I be excited for Imola? What the? That's like track limit central right there.
Yes, it
You
is.
you think you're on the white line, and then you're not.
And then you're
And
not.
it's like,
Yep. It's kind of similar to here. But you just
kind
don't have
of,
very
yeah,
long straights.
yeah,
The
but
one
the
you have
track
here.
is like tight and
Yeah.
quick.
It's like Monaco without the walls.
I wouldn't go that far,
Yeah, it's
but
true.
I understand why.
Yep. But congratulations on the win.
Thank
Many
you,
more
thank you.
moving forward. And I hope you
Hopefully.
have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, you too, man.
I'll catch you, brother.
Yep.
Cloud.
Hello.
Hello.
Uh,
You're in the interview room.
oh, you just put me right in there.
I put you right in.
You took me out of my Ferrari group.
I did. I'm gonna throw you back.
Oh, okay. It's all right.
I got you, man.
We can do it. We can do an interview.
You
Sorry.
finished P3. You finished on the podium. We gotta do an interview.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Let's do it.
How did you feel going into the battle of the last 5 laps?
Worried that our battling was gonna, who am I talking to, by the way?
This is the Tier 1 commentator, Mike.
Oh, okay.
Salami.
Mike's nice. Yeah, I was worried that, battling with Goat was gonna cause Seth to catch up, and well, especially on the last lap, he did catch up,
You did.
and yeah.
Did you have a little bit more life in the hard tires at the end? Or
Yeah.
a little more, yeah.
Yeah, I felt
figured that.
like, well, there were about 30 at the rears. I know I had better tires than Goat because Goat pitted pretty early,
Very early.
but Seth pitted after me, so I believe.
Yeah, it was the late battling between you and Goat that helped Seth catch up. But did you get an extra 3 seconds at the end there at the race? Through the last
Yeah,
couple corners? Okay.
yeah, it was the second last corner, I believe. But I could maybe appeal it, but it wouldn't have made a difference anyway.
Yeah, because he was still within the 3 seconds, even if you had 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was overall wicked pace out of you today. It was
Yeah, it felt good.
You started P3.
3
Yeah.
or
Between
2.
the Astons, I think.
P3, Goat was first, Seth,
Yeah.
and then I believe
So,
yeah.
Dave had the worst of that bunch. But no, good
Mhm.
racing today. How do you feel about
Yeah, thanks.
Imola next week?
Not my favorite track, but I'll put a little practice into it. See if I can get Goat this time and Seth. So, yeah,
Should be
I
good.
don't know.
It'll be a fun time to commentate, and I look forward to watching the race next week. But I thank you for your interview.
Yeah, thanks.
Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. That concludes the racing for the 3 individuals watching and the interviews. Like we had just said, we will be at Imola next week, and we'll see who is able to take the top podium for a quali along with the race next week. But coming to you from New York, have a lovely evening.